sure you've talked ad nauseum about working on the Thriller album with Michael Jackson, so I'm not going to delve too deeply into it. But I would like to know, though, at that time in the studio, did you feel like you were possibly working on one of the biggest albums of all time? I mean, an album that would sell probably more copies than any other album.
We knew it was a good album and it would probably do pretty well, but we had no idea to the extent that it was going to sell 40 million, and now today, I think 70 million records to date. And we all knew that it had this energy and it had great songs from Rod Temperton, and every great musician in the world was on it. And Quincy Jones was running the show with Michael. So we knew it was top to bottom. It was going to be great production. And I want to say that my band performed brilliantly on it. They played on Human Nature. That's really the band playing. And also the band on Beat It, which is Steve Lukather on bass, guitar, and rhythm guitar, as long with Jeff Porcaro. So I definitely feel we made our mark on the Thriller album, and it's a feather in our cap.
I think I saw where your dad actually got to eventually meet Michael Jackson with you. What was that kind of experience like?
That was the meeting of two professionals, two minds. You know, Michael's a great artist, and my father's a great arranger, conductor who knows everybody from Sarah Vaughan to Ella Fitzgerald to even Barbra Streisand. My dad arranged and produced The Way We Were for Barbra Streisand.
Oh, wow.
So he knew how to coddle Michael and extract the best music out of him. So it was a great relationship. They loved each other.
Obviously, having walked through much of your biography, you've got more music history, knowledge, and know-how than most people could ever hope to achieve. And now you're putting out your first solo album, Forgotten Toys. Where did the album name come from? I'm kind of thinking like Billy Joel had songs in the attic. Is it that kind of thing?
It was kind of thing where I heard that I had a title, Broken Toys, at one time. And I was going to name a song that at first, and that didn't work out. So I decided, well, if I ever do a solo album, I'll name it Broken Toys. But then just as we got into it and started listening to the material, my wife mentioned, she goes, that's kind of negative, and those songs they're not broken songs, they're just forgotten songs. She goes, you should call the album Forgotten Toys. So I immediately just hit me like a bullet in the forehead, boom, that we should change the name to that. And so I blame it all on her.
Now, after all these years of doing everything else, you're just putting out your first solo album. What was the impetus that triggered you to finally do this?
A combination of things. I think that my colleagues, Steve Lukather and Joe Williams, were both making solo records because Toto was on a kind of a sabbatical and wasn't making music, recording anyway at that time. And so they were working on their albums, and I helped them with their albums. And Joe and Luke said, they pushed me and nudged me, and they said, you need to do a solo record and get some of these other odds and ends that you've been playing us for years, get them out and write some words and lyrics to them, write some lyrics and melodies to them. So I got with Joe Williams, who co-produced the record with me, and he helped me start laying the blueprints down, and it just became fun to work on every day. And I did it during the COVID pandemic, which is still out there now, but it was during the intense 2-year period there.
What excited you the most about making this record in particular?
I think hearing the incredible musicians come in and add their energy to it, add their live playing. After you kind of make a blueprint demo that's just a skeleton of what you want, so the musicians can play to it. When they actually play on it, you see why people hire these premier musicians, because of their contributions to music and how they you don't have to produce them, they produce themselves.
And you've got a literal who's who of co-creators on the record. Did you feel kind of like a mastermind putting together like the A-Team on this?
No, I just felt like my normal self, using my Rolodex. Of course, people don't know what a Rolodex is anymore, but my
your contact list and your iPhone.
My Canuck list, right? I just called, these are all my friends, and most of them called me when they found out I was doing a solo record and asked if they could be on the record. So I obliged a few of them, and a couple others I called myself and convinced them they needed to do this record. And so it was a combination, but they were all friends and all willing to just help when they, whatever I needed. Same with Don Felder, ex-Eagle guitarist, Hotel California. He played great slide guitar on Queen Charade. And Mike McDonald sang on Spirit of the Moonrise. And, Nathan East is playing, Steve Lukather's playing. It's a one big happy family.
There was a point in time where Michael McDonald, I think, was like in almost every song on the radio.
I know.
You'd hear him backing like Christopher Cross and like everybody.
No, I still listen to him. I think he still is. I really do,
I know each song on the album has kind of a different origin story. Do any of these songs have an origin story from your time in Toto?
No, not really. Toto has been making records, and I had some of these pieces lying around, but I didn't have these songs around except for Lucy. I had that instrumental around for several years longer than the rest of the stuff, because I'd been working on an instrumental album with another great session player named Mike Lang, who just recently passed away. And him and I were going to put out a duet album of some stuff. Well, we never got that far, but I salvaged the song Lucy because I thought it was demonstrative of my collaboration again with another fellow teammate and making music. And I thought it was worthy of being on my EP.
One of the songs that really stuck out to me was All the Tears That Shine, which was done with your friends Michael and Billy Sherwood of Yes. What does that song mean to you, and how did it come about?
That song, it came about on the day we finished the Falling in Between record back in 2005, I think it was. I started writing again. I always do that the day we finish an album. I realize what I could have done, and I start writing for a new album. So I started writing the opening verse to All the Tears That Shine, and eventually I got back to it, and the song has to do with closure, I think, in a relationship. And I called Michael Sherwood in because him and we kind of finish each other's sentences, and I have history with him, and he's very shorthand, a lot of shorthand involved when I write with him. And plus, he's got such an incredible sounding voice that that was the demo that we did. His vocal was anyway on it. So I just wanted to preserve that and honor him by putting that version out so people could hear what it sounded like when we conceived the song.